Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. Through creative content and live shows, we explain the hidden details of the Disney experience so that our clients can execute memorable adventures. Together with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, we have helped hundreds of clients plan, book, and prepare for magical Disney vacations. Let our experience help you avoid common planning mistakes and maximize the enjoyment on your next Disney trip. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Matt with the DPI podcast. It's the first Monday in August, so we are getting out of the summer and we are getting into news season. And one of the big things when it comes to news, especially when it comes to card games and tabletop games, is GenCon, and we had the ability to go to GenCon this weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that were announced in the second anniversary celebration panel that they had. And we're going to talk about some things that are going on around the parks. You know, right now, park news is probably at its lowest point. We've got a lot of construction going on, but we don't have a lot of news coming out about that. We're kind of ramping up into Halloween season at the Disney parks, and we've got D23 right around the corner, so we'll be talking a little bit about that and another closure of I say major attraction if you're a Disney fan. If you're not a Disney fan, this is a minor attraction, but we've got some Spaceship Earth news that we're going to talk about tonight. So, you know, what I always like to do is really start with subscriptions and followers. You know, you guys are the reason that the channel goes, and I want to make sure that you guys understand how much I appreciate you. So, Serena Cassandro Aravalo, thank you for the subscription over on YouTube. George Rogerson, thank you for the subscription over on YouTube. And Christine Ivy Mariano, thank you for the subscription over on YouTube all this week. If you like having your public subscription read on the show, do that over on YouTube. Follow us over on Twitch. Big Twitch news, we hit one of the monetization plateaus today, actually, and we are looking into what that looks like for the channel and kind of how we're going to utilize Twitch as we move forward. Could be a little bit of gameplay on there, could be a continued show like this over there. We don't know yet, but that's one thing that I think when it comes to talking about Lorcana specifically, I think Twitch right now is the platform that we want to utilize and tap into that market. There aren't a lot of huge creators on Twitch with big followings, so I think we're going to try and focus a lot of our Lorcana efforts over there. So when you see the Pack Rush sessions, we're probably going to do those live on Twitch and then do the replay on YouTube during one of the DPI live shows. Whether it's the following week or, if we start stacking them, like if we do a GenCon next year and just sit down with a bunch of people and do Pack Rush sessions, we might stack, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them in a week and kind of run with it that way. So interested to see how that's going to happen. Let's get into a little bit of the news. We got a little bit of news in the second anniversary celebration panel. And I was surprised at some of the things that we didn't get. So I think the sentiment going in is that we were going to get all of the returning cards revealed. Get all of the reprints out of the way at GenCon, and then over the next 4 weeks, you can really kind of spread out those 30 new cards that you're going to bring, the 30 mechanically new cards that you're bringing into the game, over your online creators, your lorecast, that kind of stuff. And really, hey, thanks, John or Jason. Yeah, that's a big deal. We'll see what it works out to be. I mean, right now we're strong on YouTube, so it's something that we're gonna look into it. I think it's gonna be something that's kind of cool. Fat Tested Travel, Jason Vaughn, thank you very much. Yeah. So it was interesting to see that they really downplayed a lot of the reprints and really focused on really just two franchises when it came to the reveals: Dumbo and Goofy Movie. And I think we were all kind of under the impression that, Goofy Movie was going to get, I wouldn't say a significant number of cards, but a sizable number of cards. And it's going to end up being 6, it looks like. Including two Enchanted and at least one Epic version of the cards as well. So, that's a pretty big number for one niche movie. I think it's got its cult following, but I mean that is one of those movies that if you're not a Disney fan, you probably don't know a Goofy Movie. So yeah, that's one of those things. The other one was Dumbo. Dumbo getting a few cards. Right now they've announced 4. I would imagine that we probably get at least one more, if not one more plus an Enchanted out of the Dumbo franchise. You had 2 Dumbo base cards, a Timothy Mouse base card, and then a Magic Feather face card, or base card. So yeah, it's yeah. No, I think it's cool, and I think, with them looking at like Gargoyles and Black Cauldron and movies like that, I think it's a good play for Disney, because people are going to be going and looking for these movies like they did for, Journey to Atlantis and those types of movies. So I think it's a really good play for Disney, kind of pushing, hey, let's get some characters from some kind of fringe Disney movies and get them out there, and have, people that like this game going and looking and saying, oh, where is this character from? Not only your classics, but some of your better known movies as well. So Dumbo got some cards. One of the things I really enjoyed was they went through kind of the process of making a card. And this is something that I talked to my wife about. It was one of the things that really kind of stood out to me, is the process of making a card, from the character to the mechanic to, what's its ink cost going to be, what's strength and willpower going to be, how big is a singer can you really have, in those abilities and that kind of stuff. So it's really cool to kind of see that process and that mindset, and the art, and going through the art phase, and cool things like that. For me, I'm a nerd. I love the Imagineering story. So seeing something like that from the Lorcana side was really interesting. But I think at the end, I was really disappointed with the lack of information that we got out of that panel. I think at this time with most sets, we were to a point where we kind of understood what the meta was going to do, and what stronger decks were going to emerge with the cards that were coming out. Right now we're still in a little bit of an unknown, because there are so many cards that we don't know if they're even going to be in the pool to be able to use. You figure there's 204 cards in each of the first 4 sets, except for set 3, which there's 208 cards, 208 base cards, because they did 5 versions of the puppy, and the puppy's coming back. Hook's coming back. And we know that another 170 cards are coming back from, that are going to be reprinted in the Fabled set. So you've got, roughly 30 cards revealed right now that are reprints. There's still a lot to go. And there are a lot of cards that are like staple cards in decks. I'm talking about Let the Storm Rage On. I'm talking about Big Sisu, Rapunzel, cards like that we just don't know what they're going to do. I think the biggest surprise from the weekend was the disregard for rarity in these cards and how many cards went down rarity so they could fit in the set. And I really think that's why they did it, is so they could fit in the set. We saw, what was it? Mulan went down rarity. Aerial Sonic Warrior went down rarity. Alice Growing Girl went down rarity. So those are some big cards that are opening some spots for legendaries and super rares. That could be reprints or new cards. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see what they're doing right now. And we'll just see kind of as they continue to release cards, what happens. We had Kuzco released today. Fire the Cannons came out today. So there's a slow trickle of cards coming out. Just interested to see what ends up staying. Because, like I said, you've got 816-ish cards that are on the chopping block right now, and you're going to get 170 of them back. So, going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be real interesting. What else came out from this weekend that was interesting? There's a lot of good people in the Lorcana community. There are a lot of dirtbags. Ran into a lot of both this weekend. A lot of sweaty players, a lot of people that I'm pretty okay with never playing them again. But like I said, I did run into a lot of cool people, a lot of interesting people. JDZ Quest, awesome guy, super interesting to talk to. The Illuminateers, really, really nice. Yeah, I have seen the limited editions on the Treasure. I was gonna bring that up here in a second. Yeah, because we got a lot of news about that today. But yeah, it was just one of those things that, I think every community is kind of the same. Lore Whisper, Jai, awesome. There is a lot to be said for somebody that puts the time and effort into short form. and this was probably my biggest takeaway for the weekend, because I watched people, Rebecca Quest, Limiteers, JDZ, with cameras on all weekend, watching gameplay, talking to people, doing their own short form stuff, camera on them, that kind of stuff. That life just isn't for me. I think I've fallen in love with long form, and that's probably where I'm gonna stay. I think I'm gonna let AI chop down my long form content into shorter stuff, so I can do, Instagram and YouTube Shorts and that kind of stuff, because I think there is a benefit to short form content when it comes to those things. But for the most part, I mean, wow, it's just a lot. Just constantly on your phone, on your camera, doing stuff all the time. To me, it'd be a lot. I put a lot of effort into a few days a year to get video, and then one day a week. And then everything else is just editing. And I'm good with that. I'm 100% good with that. So, but no, like I said, the people from the Forbidden Mountain, Questlore, that family, Enchanted Hunter, him and his daughter, all really, really good people. And I really enjoyed the conversations that we had, whether it was, between, games, in the play hall, or waiting in lines wherever we waited in a line, there were a lot of good people to talk to. So I was very thankful for that, because if I was really the only one there that I knew, I would have wanted to crawl in a hole after the weekend. I don't feel like I played bad. I mentally drained. So it was just kind of, hey, kind of glad the weekend was over. But for a lot of people, this is their World Series. This is their Masters weekend. This is their big event of the year. More power to them. More power to them. I was super thankful that I got to go home at night. And it made me really kind of question, do I want to go out and try and do an LCQ? Do I want to do, a challenge event? Something like that. Because those, to me, might be a little just kind of out of my league right now, when it comes to this game. So yeah. So let's talk a little bit of Disney news. I don't want to neglect what's going on at the parks. Is there a lot going on at the parks? No, there isn't. But there's enough to still talk about it. So let's talk about Disneyland Park. Disneyland Park released kind of their closing schedule for the rest of the year. So we've got Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion's down as of August 9th. Reopens for the Haunted Mansion Holiday version on August 22nd. Star Tours The Adventures continues. Closed. It's reopening on September 5th. Storybook Land Canal Boats closed. No reopening date. Casey Jr. Circus Train closed. No reopening date. Mark Twain Riverboat closes on September 8th. No reopening date. Main Street Cinema closes on September 8th. No reopening date. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. No reopening scheduled yet. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is an interesting one because that is where the Walt animatronic show is right now. And I think that's really going to just depend on the success and the gate on that attraction. I think if you see stuff kind of weighing downhill on that attraction, that they can it early and bring back Mr. Lincoln. Mr. Lincoln is a good show. I mean, but it's a consistent show. I think the Walt Disney thing is going to be super high, and it was at the beginning. And then you're going to kind of see it go downhill, especially with how negative people have been about how the animatronic was done. So, yeah, see, that's what I thought too. I expected it to be there through the 70th and then trade off after that. I really think it is 100% an attendance thing right now. I think if attendance stays where it is through the end of the year, I think they figure out a way to cut it and you see Mr. Lincoln back by spring break next year. I don't think you see a full year of Walt. And that it's sad to even think about that as a Disney fan. I think if they would have done a better job on the animatronic, it would be a whole different story. This thing would be packed every time it goes on. But because it faced so much backlash, and I think this is the same thing that happened to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So much backlash when it happened. It just kind of, the attendance has always been affected by that narrative. So, let's move over to Disney California Adventure Park. Redwood Creek Challenge Trails closed, reopens on August 15th. Credit Coasters closed, reopens on August 15th. Radiator Springs Racers is going to close on August 18th. We don't have a reopening date for that yet. Better Together, a Pixar Pal celebration. Pauses for Halloween and Christmas. Disney Junior Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Live. Closes August 17th. No reopening date. Paint the Night Parade. Pauses for Christmas. And then Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue permanently closes in early 2026. So there's what we've got going on at Disneyland Park. Something interesting kind of on the movie side. I don't talk about Disney movies a ton. Kind of talk about how they do and expectations and that kind of stuff. But news came out about Moana 2. And I thought it was interesting news because if you're in or tied to the movie industry, you kind of understand the threat of AI when it comes to movie production. And Disney was kind of on the forefront of using AI as part of a changing image and likeness program. So we all remember the scene in The Mandalorian where Luke comes and rescues Grogu and all that. If you haven't watched it, I'm sorry. I just ruined the ending of it. At least the first ending. But they used AI technology based off of thousands of images of Luke Skywalker to basically make him younger in the show. And there was talk about Disney using this for Dwayne Johnson's body double in the live action Moana. And then all of a sudden, after, and it was kind of right as the Mandalorian thing happened, there was a huge uproar about the use of AI and image and likeness and all this kind of stuff. And Disney kind of scrapped that idea so that they could be on the front end of the Hollywood side and being against AI and using AI for artists. Now, granted, AI is, in most cases, cheaper than Dwayne Johnson and a Dwayne Johnson body double. But Disney's always going to take the side of Hollywood when it comes to these things. And we all know why. So this was something that did go through the thought process of Disney for Moana, the live action Moana. And they didn't go through with the plan. And this was in the Wall Street Journal. So I am going to go ahead and say that probably on the true side. August 13th to 18th, 2025. So next week. Magic Key holders get 50% off Lightning Lane Multi-Pass at Disneyland Resort. So if you're a Magic Key holder, there you go. 50% off Lightning Lane. If you're a Magic Key holder that goes to Disneyland, you probably know when to go and how to navigate the parks. You probably don't use Lightning Lane and probably don't need Lightning Lane. I'm just saying. Drew Smith posted something from Disney Parks about the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin. It recently closed for a major refurbishment, and it's going to open sometime in 2026. I'm going to get to this in a second. This is a big deal. New show scene, all new character, new ride vehicles, handheld blasters, gameplay enhancements, interactive targets, and much more. So what's coming to Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin? Why is it important that Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is updated and ready to go in 2026? Well, you've got a big hole on the other side of your park that's going to be Cars Land at some point, and you need capacity. So they need a good, new-ish ride to suck people over to Tomorrowland. You have Tron, you're going to have this. You're going to be pulling some people over on that side of the park and just saying, don't look on the stuff on the left side. It's not a big deal. Big Thunder's going to open some point. Nobody wants to ride Tianas anymore. So, yeah. So they give you this over on the other side. No, super excited about this. It needs some updates. I think it's going to just make it a better ride. It's going to be more in tune like the one in Disneyland. So yeah, it's just going to be a little bit better. It'll also fit in with the new Tomorrowland when we get the news that Tomorrowland's going under construction. All right, let's get into a little bit more on the Lorcana side. So over the weekend, they didn't say a lot about it. They actually said more about the Disneyland Collector's Quest than they did about the ones that were going to go on the boats. But the Disney Treasure cruise ship had a Lorcana quest session as well. So these collector quests are kind of cool because you get 3 packs of cards like this, but they're all going to be from the same series usually. The one that I did prior to my event as our icebreaker was an Ursula's Return one. So you get 3 packs of cards and you get a sheet of paper that has 6 cards on it from one franchise. So mine had characters from Mulan. So I had Mulan and Li Shang and Chempo and Yao, and then the training grounds location. So a lot of stuff like that. And you open your packs and you go around and you trade your cards with other people's cards so you can complete your quest. And then when you complete your quest, you will get in our case, it was the Anna Icebreaker promo card. Well, they're going to do this on the boats, and the Disney Cruise Lines have multiple pirate cards for collection. So, and then this is really, really cool. So on Pirate Night, you're going to get the Mickey Mouse pirate card, and these all have special rarity symbols. They all have special borders. These are all completely collector's items from the cruise. So you're going to get Mickey Mouse. You're going to get Goofy on the meetup sessions. If you play or trade Disney Lorcana during scheduled events, you receive the Goofy playing card. If you do a basic quest, you'll get the Buccaneer Donald card. If you do the advanced quest, you'll get the Pirate Daisy card. And if you purchase the Stitch Collector's gift set at Mickey's main sale, you'll get the Pirate Mini card. So in total, there are 5 different collector's cards that you can get on the Disney Treasure right now, which is really, really cool. What I was talking about at the parks is at Disneyland California Adventure in the Beast Library, they are going to have a collector's quest as well. And as part of that, the prize for that collector's quest is going to be a special edition Belle Mystic card, which is an awesome card by itself, but with an enhanced border and you know, all that kind of stuff. So super, super cool to see the parks getting in on more of the Lorcana stuff. My wife's gonna hate me for doing these things when we're at the park, but hey, you only live once. That's about it on the Disney news. The other, I guess, biggish Disney news is that Spaceship Earth is going to close. They don't know when. They don't know for how long. And there's a rumor that what was proposed in the Epcot enhancement project, which brought you know, the Journey of Water, Guardians, that kind of stuff, that those enhancements are going to be what's done to Spaceship Earth. That is going to put Spaceship Earth down probably for 8 to 12 months. I don't see them doing that with a huge hole in your other 3 parks. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I feel like this is going to be a basic refurbishment, 3 to 6 weeks. Ride's going to be back up. It's not going to be a big deal. But past that, yeah, not a ton of Disney news. So let's flip over to the other screen, and we're gonna do a couple things, show off a few things from this weekend, and no, maybe not. Let me try something real quick. You ever just feel old getting up? That's me right now. It's a great arm in the shot. Hey, look. This is what you're watching. Go over here. Let's pop a battery out. This is great live entertainment, isn't it? I mean, just remember, these are the type of people that get monetized. That didn't work at all. So, okay, we'll have to show it off a little bit differently here then. Alright. So let's get this, and get this, and get this. I got a bunch of the stuff already put away, so we'll start with this guy. Best viewers on streamboo.com. Remove the space. Yeah, you're a bot. Thanks for coming and just deciding that you're going to say something on my channel. Alright. So, first, we've got the Pluto. Get a little bit of, there we go. A little bit more. This was the promo card for playing in an event over the weekend at GenCon. It is the Pluto Tried and True, but what makes it special from the regular cards is the fact that you've got the red lore icons, and you got the red text box that kind of sets it out as a special card. I thought it was kind of cool that they were using these as their promo sleeves. These were the League player sleeves from Into the Inklands that they were a prize for being a League player. I didn't get a chance. I really didn't start playing until about Ursula's Return, Ursula's Revenge, Ursula's something, Ursula's Return. It's right there on this pack. So yeah, so I got that for that. I'm trying to figure out why I'm not getting any. That's weird that it's not even trying. Ursula's Return. So I really didn't start playing in events until after that. So yeah, so it was nice to get a chance to get those sleeves as well, at least a few of them. Another one of the promos for one of the rounds was a 2-in-1 Rapunzel promo, foil Rapunzel promo. So this was a promo during the first year. This is a second set card. It was used as the promos at PAX in Philadelphia last year. So thought it was kind of cool that was one of the promos as well. Just a nice looking promo that you don't see all the time. Into the collection, I got a Corey Godby is one of the artists. I had him sign one of his cards, a White Rose, which is really cool. I don't know if I'm going to play it, if I'm just going to put it in the binder with a little note on who signed the card and when I got it signed. I really like signatures. I came from, and I still do, sports memorabilia, especially on like the IndyCar side and IndyCar driver side. I love taking photography of IndyCars and then having the guys sign the pictures that that I take. So that's always really cool. I did end up getting the special edition GenCon sleeves, Dragon Shield sleeves. They're really cool. Black matte sleeves with the design, and then it's got a matte gold inner sleeve, which is pretty cool. So I may be rocking those on the deck this weekend if I end up doing a set championship, but we'll see, because my brain is still kind of Lorcana dead after this weekend. Are you even working? No, you're not even trying. I don't know what my camera's doing right now, my upper camera. It's just kind of playing hard to get right now, and I don't know why. So I was going to open 3 packs on stream. I'll do it this way. So we're going to start out with an Ursula's Return pack. So Ursula's Return is about a year old now. It is the 4th set. So it is actually the newest set that is going to be rotated out. And cards that were good in this set. There was an Ursula Sea Witch Queen that was pretty awesome. Diablo came out of this set, so there were quite a few good cards. So we're going to start with an Unfortunate Souls, Poor Unfortunate Souls. One Drop Pegasus. We know One Drop Pegasus is getting a reprint. That's going to be really cool to see. That is a mainstay in a lot of people's decks, and in one of the decks that I played over the weekend. We got a Winter Camp location, First Aid, Raya, a Thebes location, Julieta Madrigal, Magical Maid, and our last kind of standard set card is Ursula's Trickery. First in our higher rarity cards is going to be a Lumiere. And then we got a super rare Aurora. And then we got a super rare foil Bruno Madrigal. So one thing that I do like that they've done, and if you can look at the Rapunzel promo, let me take it out of the sleeve because the sleeve kind of takes away a little bit of what they did. So on the promo cards, the foiling is a lot more dramatic all the way up and down the card. You can see how the light kind of shines it the whole way, and it's got a much better sheen. The foiling in the cards from the first few sets, if you watch the light hit it, it doesn't hit the card the same way. So the foiling is really only in the artwork, your lore and willpower, and then in your rarity symbol. So it was a good change. I really like the change. So it's just really nice to see. Also, quality of card has gotten a lot better since the first 4 sets. I don't know if there was a change in distributor or, a change in print process, but it definitely, you can tell a difference in the quality of the card from first set to, even later sets. So into the Inklings, what's nice about these packs is you can get the square cut promo cards. This is when they release locations, so they put these location cards in there. And it kind of told you what was going on with the location. When you got later in the set, the second run, basically, when they printed them, these were cut in a similar way to the actual cards. So you can always tell an early generation pack from a later generation pack by these 2 cards that are in the back of the pack. If they're square cut like this, you've got one of the first run Inklings packs. So in the Inklings pack, we ended up with Maid Marian, Razul, Webby Vandercrack, Sir Hiss, the Queen, Patch, Robin's Bow, Mama Odie, and then our last of the commons is a Hey Hey. So in our higher rarities, we have a rare Map of the Treasure Planet, a rare Ruby Captain Hook, and our foil for this pack is a Magic Broom. And again, you can see that the text section is not foiled on this set. So this is even earlier than the Ursula's Return. So that is our Chapter 3 pack. Let's get into Reign of Jafar. Reign of Jafar is the current set right now. So these are, like I said, again, just a better feel to the cards. They're not, I mean, they're still about the same thickness, but they just feel sturdier. The print is a little bit better on them. So we're going to start with Dalmatian Puppy. Then we have Tipo, Frendal, Adelaide Bonfamille, Ariana, Bill the Lizard, Undermine. And Undermine's such a good card, and I'm glad to see that red-green's getting a little bit of love in this set. Chosen opponent discards a card, chooses and discard a card, and chosen character gets +2 this turn. A really, really good card at 2. Glad it's not a song, because if it was a song, it would be banned. But good card. Rolly. And our last uncommon is Walk the Plank. And then our first rare, Speak of the Devil, red-green, Alice. It is a great card when you're playing this red-green damage package. It's a really cool card to play. Then a super rare, Perdita. Beautiful card. When my son and I opened our first box of Reign of Jafar, we pulled that Enchanted out, which was awesome. And then our foil for our last pack tonight is Light the Fuse. And I actually know that this is one that I need for my collection, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, but you can tell in this one, and I'm going to bring it up a little bit closer so you can see that the foiling goes all the way down the card, and it's just a much better foiling. Now, I equate it to the foiling in the foreign cards. So, and this is a fun kind of look at. So the foiling in the foreign cards, this is a Chapter 1 card from, I think it's from Japan. This is a Chinese Chapter 1 card. And you can tell how much better the foiling is, even with pretty bad light right at the camera. You can tell how good the foiling is. It doesn't have the foiling in the text box, but the lore symbol now has foiling, and the foiling on the card is just a lot better. So, no, I just feel like it's a better product. There's nothing wrong with the older ones. It's nice to see them put a little bit more effort into the cards, and I'm interested to see what, like, the epics, one of the new rarities that are coming out in Fabled, what they look like, because I really feel like they have the opportunity to be really cool cards, like the I think it's the Huey Dewey Louie. No, it's the Dewey, I think. That's the open border. card. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's going to be really cool. So hopefully they do good well. Wow, the brain is stop functioning, and talking is becoming tough. No, it's just a lot of fun to see what they're doing with the art and the card varieties and types and that kind of stuff. Because, like I said, on the collector side, I really enjoy the art and the different cards. On the player side, I enjoy... Really, I'm still in the learning process of how do you build a good deck and that kind of stuff. But still a great game. So, want to thank all you guys for joining me tonight. Good news is I talked to Peter with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel while I was at GenCon, and it looks like we are going to start getting together to tape some more content and bring some more top threes. You know, that was a segment that a lot of people enjoyed and a lot of people tuned in for. So going to get back to that. Definitely made a lot of good connections while I was at GenCon on the Lorcana side. So really looking to reach out to them to set up times to, you know, get the pack rush sessions off the ground. I really feel like that's going to be a great opportunity to be able to really, you know, learn about the people that we see on the screens, the people that we play against. You know, I've reached out to some of the better players here locally. I've reached out to some of the better players nationally. You know, I talked to DKP at GenCon. That's one thing I didn't get out. Let me find that bad boy. Where is that box? There it is. So here's my best story from the weekend, I guess. So I'm waiting around between sessions, and DKP, Dean King Fem, was there representing world-class cards. So he is one on their roster for Lorcana now, and I guess for other things, but I know him from Lorcana, and he'll always be a Lorcana player first in my mind. And one of his responsibilities during the event was to sit in the WCC booth and play Pack Rush against just randos that walked up and wanted to either learn Lorcana or wanted to play against him and talk to him. You know, a lot of different reasons to get involved in that. So I was playing a red-blue deck in the session prior, kind of loosely based off of his deck, and he was sitting at the table next to me and finished his match, and he saw that I was playing the deck, and he got up and watched me play the deck. So I was able to go and talk to him about it a little bit afterwards, and asked him. I was being completely facetious, asking him, you know, how many sharks and Happy as a Clam Tamatoas have you signed this weekend? And he's like, man, too many. I go, you sound tired. He goes, I am exhausted. And this was like Saturday afternoon. So I was like, what is your favorite card in your deck? And he goes, Visions of the Future. So I was like, cool. So I go into my backpack, pull out a Visions of the Future, and got a DKP signed Vision of the Future that I'm playing in my red-blue deck. So I think that's a cool thing for a Lorcana nerd, to have a card signed by the world champ in your deck that you're playing at this tournament. So we had a lot of fun with that. Him, Ed Chu, both very, very gracious people to talk to. Very, very humble people to talk to. You know, I got wind that they were not invited to be part of the panel. And I guess not invited to be part of the panel is a very loose term. But they weren't given like press credentials or exhibitor credentials, and weren't brought up to be part of the conversation in the second anniversary celebration, which I thought is a really strange move on Lorcana's side. And I asked both of them about it, and they were standing together, and DKP was like, in the end, we're just regular guys. We won a tournament, but we're regular guys. And I'm like, yeah, so is a pitcher that wins the World Series. He's a regular guy. He's just a pitcher. And he wins the World Series, and he's, a star for the rest of his life. I kind of bring this akin to, a world championship in Lorcana. There are a lot of steps and a lot of luck that goes into it. I understand that, but you are the first world champion of this game that is growing by leaps and bounds, this game that is going to always have the Disney buy-in. You shouldn't be forced to sit in the back and only be able to ask a question in the off-camera Q&A. Seems kind of strange to me. But on that note, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys all for joining me tonight. If you're new to the channel, thanks for coming by, stopping by, checking us out. Jason Vaughn, thanks for jumping on, chatting a little bit. We're here every Monday. May see us a little bit more on Twitch now as we figure that out. But until then, thank you guys all for joining us. You guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Monday. Bye now. Hey, we didn't have any guests this week, but that is going to change probably starting next week. Join us for Top 3s and the Pack Rush sessions, all coming up, End Out 2025. If you're looking for us on social media, you can find us in a lot of different places. The easiest is going to be over on Facebook at DPI Podcast. Wow. If you want a conversation, you can find us on Twitter at Disney Insights. We're also on Instagram, Twitch, Discord, Threads, YouTube, everywhere else. Thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing, following, everything that you do to support the channel. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next